Fab. Hello, everyone. As Addy said, I'm Claudia. I work in our product communications team here at Esri UK, which has had a little bit of a shout out from the graduates, so I'll take that. But I am also the graduate program manager more recently here at Esri UK. So this is my first kind of full-time job coming out of education, but I didn't join on the graduate scheme. So thought it would be nice to kind of talk through my journey coming into Esri UK as a graduate, but not on the scheme. And I couldn't resist having this photo as the kind of cover photo for my presentation because feels a little bit like an album cover. I thought Matthew on the right-hand side there is a presenter just after me. So I thought it was quite fitting, but I'll explain the origin of it a little bit later on. But for now, I guess just talking through my journey. So going back to the earlier years, I kept my options pretty open with A levels, studying both geography, business studies, and English language. I kind of saw myself as having two potential routes, going either down the geography route or business studies. And I had a kind of interest at the time of opening my own business because I create wedding cakes on the side. And so I had these kind of two very different routes, but not really sure any more than that kind of where to go. My A levels, I went on a gap year because honestly, I wasn't sure whether university was right for me. So I took the year out and I interrailed around Europe, both starting and finishing in Paris. But yeah, interrailed, traveled by train the whole way around Europe, which was fantastic. But I then kind of realised that university was right for me and I wanted to go. So I went to the University of Lincoln and studied geography. So I did study a mix of both human and physical. And throughout those 3 years, there was a GIS module. And that was the first time I heard of GIS. I had no idea what it was before that. Didn't learn it at school. And it was quite a introductory level in the first 3 years of my undergraduate degree. Following on from that, so I graduated from my undergraduate around the time that COVID-19 became prevalent. So I wasn't really sure kind of where I stood with going into a full-time career at that stage. So I went into doing a master's by research at the University of Lincoln. And this was actually really quite difficult. I don't think a master's by research really suited me, but I did use it to have a look at using GIS to investigate something that I was interested in. And I looked at the spread of disease using GIS. But I was kind of always looking at other opportunities to actually then go into a full-time career. And that is what led me to actually applying for the Esri UK grad scheme. Now, I said that I didn't go on it, but I did apply for it because that's kind of how I came about. I obviously worked with Esri software through my university and through my dissertation. And so I then applied for the graduate scheme. I went for some initial interviews, and then following that, it was I was then kind of didn't suit some of the skills or suit some of the some of the skills for a graduate scheme, but I was then put considered for a full-time role in Esri UK in the product communications team. So that's something that Esri UK through the graduate scheme, we're always looking for kind of opportunities for candidates for other job roles that are available at the time as well. And luckily for me, there was a role going in our product communications team. And so that's where I joined Esri UK in September 2021 as a junior customer success consultant. And I have stayed there ever since. As I said, I'm still in product communications team. I got promoted into a customer success consultant in July last year. And as I said, I'm still here now. Something that I often get asked, having not gone on the graduate scheme, is kind of worrying whether I kind of missed out on anything. And to be completely honest, that was something that I was worried about at the time, deciding whether to still pursue going down a graduate scheme route or whether to kind of jump into this product communications role, which at the time I wasn't sure too much about what it entailed. But I can honestly say I don't feel like I've missed out on opportunities being a kind of fresh graduate going into Esri UK. I've been given kind of a range of different opportunities to develop both my kind of technical understanding, my GIS understanding, as well as my soft skills, and just moving into kind of a more of a corporate world as well. So so these photos are kind of encompass, if you like, what I've done in the product communications team over the last few years. But I appreciate product comms probably a bit of a mystery in terms of us actually what we do. So essentially, in a nutshell, the product communications team, we try best to communicate exactly what ArcGIS is, what our products can do, what the technology can do, both to our customers, obviously, through a variety of different communications channels, but also actually internally to our colleagues, because it is an ever-changing kind of industry, technology, and so not all of our staff can keep up to date with those changes. So we're kind of communicating both to our customers and our colleagues exactly what's possible, basically, with our products. And that's through a variety of different channels. So these pictures here kind of represent just a few of those channels. So just some of the stuff that I've worked on over the last few years. That top left screenshot is our webinar series. So in collaboration with marketing, we run a monthly webinar series to showcase to our customers the what's possible and how to best use our products, essentially. And so this is something that I have actually been involved in kind of pretty soon from starting Esri UK, but my role has changed over the last few years. So I've gone from kind of supporting with some of the presenting early on to now kind of leading the technical input to these webinar series, and kind of actually taking the lead on deciding the technology that we're going to showcase, the kind of presenters, through to exactly what the demos look like. So that's been a kind of big focus for me over the last few years. But also a whole heap of different kind of resources as well we get to create in product communications. I'm quite a creative person. I kind of have a bit of a creative outlet, and I get to fulfill that with doing maps at Esri UK. So Molly said we all love maps. That's why we're here. We see a power in mapping things out digitally, and so we get to do that in product communications as well. We have something called a map gallery. If you haven't seen it, I recommend having a look. It's kind of a way to hopefully inspire our users as to how you can use our products and the kind of outputs that you can create. And so occasionally we get to kind of map something that interests us, and that's something that the graduates get to do as well in each of our in the product communications rotation. We also get to create blogs as well. So those are a couple of the blogs I've created. You can see, again, kind of just recognizing where potentially our users might want some additional learning, some additional support, and kind of taking that initiative to create a blog that, again, is also on Esri UK webpage. And it's always satisfying seeing your name in the author notes at the bottom for the first time. So, so yeah, that's a good one, again, which our grads also do in the rotation. But a big thing for me, and a big part of the product communications team as well, is our conferences. So they've been mentioned a couple of times today, but we have three. So we have the annual conference, Scottish conference, and the Welsh. And there are a couple of photos on there for the various different kind of ways that I've got involved over the years, whether it's kind of supporting on the stands that we have at the conference, to actually planning the tech stands that are there on the day, such as the one in the bottom left. And also presenting at conferences as well. So that top right photo is at our annual conference in London. And that was presenting at our opening plenary last year, which is in front of hundreds of people in the room, and also live streamed as well. Which, if you told university me that I was doing that, frankly wouldn't have believed you, as something that never saw myself doing. But you do get kind of huge amount of support at Esri to develop your soft skills and develop that kind of confidence to be able to go out there and present these kind of presentations. And then lastly, that bottom right, the picture of a passport, you may be wondering why that's there, but that kind of represents just some of the internal communications we do with our colleagues. So product communications, we also run a training course essentially for anyone new joining Esri UK to build a foundational knowledge of what ArcGIS is, or even what GIS is in general as well. And that's completely managed and maintained by product communications. So hopefully that kind of encompasses and shows how broad a scope we cover in product comms, and it really has helped me to kind of always have new opportunities and new ways to develop in the team, and that's why I've been there all 3 years. But more recently, I have kind of changed my role slightly. So I'm still in the product communications team. But in August this year, the role became available to become the new graduate program manager at Esri UK. So this is a 50-50 role. So as I said, I'm still in product comms, but 50% of my time, I'm also working on graduate scheme things. So helping support the running of the graduate scheme here at Esri UK. So I've just got a couple photos of what that's looked like since I've joined in August. But as you know, we've welcomed a new cohort in September, one of those Adam, which you've just heard from. And as graduate program manager, it's just the kind of general running of the scheme. So making sure all of our graduates that join are supported, checking the running of their rotations and things like that, and also supporting HR with the recruitment as well and that kind of side of things. So it's a really fantastic role for me. It's helping me to kind of develop even more. It's a completely different way of developing, managing both graduates, but also managing senior stakeholders as well. So it's been a kind of fantastic challenge for me developing, seeing as I'm still only 3 years into my career really in GIS and in Esri following my education. And then I just wanted to finish off with some photos really of my experience so far at Esri UK, because I really want to stress a lot of our company. We're quite a hybrid company nowadays, so working both from home and going into the office. But Esri really do kind of stress the importance of meeting up with your colleagues, whether that's your team, your department, or the company as a whole. And I've really got to do that through so many different ways, as you can see in these photos, whether it's doing the crystal maze with your team, or that bottom photo there with the car. I promised I'd explain the origin of that, and that was part of this summer raising money for the Outward Bound Trust, which is a charity we've partnered with for 10 years now, and Molly did mention as well. And we took part in the Rusty Rally. So I think Matthew's explaining it a little bit as well, so I won't say too much, but we had to drive a car costing no more than £1,000 across Europe. And we had a few stories to tell, one of them being that the handbrake seemed to control the volume by the end of it. So don't ask me how, because I'm not sure still to this day. But yeah, you get to do a whole range of different things, networking with people you wouldn't work with maybe day to day, but you do get the opportunity to get to know kind of everyone at Esri UK, which is really, really valuable. So with that, I guess I'll just say I can't stress enough kind of having a look at those vacancies that are on the careers page. Maybe you'll see something that you like straight away, and definitely go for it. Or if you do want to go down the graduate scheme route, definitely kind of keep your eyes open and be open to those opportunities, but also applying for full-time roles as well. And I put my the QR code to my LinkedIn page. Feel free to reach out. It would be great to hear from anyone. And otherwise, best of luck with your journey if you are looking for a full-time role.